time machine and wait.
That's not a question!
Questions! I need answers!
Hello, Buddy Crow, back again with another questions and answers video. I'm doing this outside, as you can see. We hung up this swing thing hanging from this tree here last week, and I was replacing faucet earlier. I got extremely dirty, wound up taking a shower, and just kind of wanted to sit. I decided being out here would be a good idea. And I was like, hey, you know what? I was going to film one of those videos. Let me take the camera outside and see how that goes. My beard seems kind of crooked, doesn't it? Anyway, I noticed that when I'm watching the videos, I was like, my beard seems crooked. Yeah, but I don't know when I'll get to post this. I'm having some problems with the internet, of course, Comcast. For the third time this year, like for hours and hours, I've dropped. I'm supposed to be getting about 50 megabits per second. That's what I'm paying for, at least through Comcast. If I go any higher, they want me to get cable, and I absolutely refuse to get the cable TV portion of that. Cable, actually, television, over-the-air television commercials just kind of infuriates me. So I tend to try and avoid that whenever possible. But the last two times I was on the phone with them, they're like, oh, we fixed the problem. I don't know what they did or what buttons they hit, but then, you know, even though I'm paying for 50 megabits per second, you know, usually I say up to, but usually I get over that. So it's kind of weird, but like I'm getting like, you know, 1 to 3 megabits per second if I'm getting anything at all. It's like I'm connected, but barely. It's like only slightly better than dial-up is what I'm getting right now. Anyway, but this, you know, first two times this year I called about it, they hit whatever they did, fixed it. This time the guy's like, oh, the problem must be on your end. We're going to send a technician out, blah, blah, blah. When can you do it? Is next Saturday okay? I'm like, ugh. So I got to wait a week. Like I said, who knows when I'm even posting this? I guess my internet might have to be fixed, either that or I sneak and upload this from work. Anyway, enough about my problems. Let's look at your questions. This one was asked on April 29th from NMF N21, who likes to ask a lot of questions. What is the, as soon as I touched it, it went off the screen. What is your ethnic background of your family heritage? Did your grandparents immigrate to the United States? Honestly, my ethnic heritage background is not something I've looked too deeply into. I'm half Polish, half German. My grandparents were actually born in the United States. My parents, my grandparents. I don't even know what generation my ancestors came over to the United States, and for the most part, we've all lived in the around the Chicagoland area. For a while, my uncle was the one that lived out the furthest. He lived in close to Janesville, Wisconsin, for quite some time. But now we're kind of all over the place. My sister and my dad now live in Arizona. My uncle now lives in Florida. You know, a lot of us are still based in the Chicagoland area, but yeah, and now it's more spread out, as it were. Even my other grandparents, before they died, they would travel back and forth between Las Vegas and Upper Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. They had a cabin up there. They would spend the summer up there, and then they had a condo in Las Vegas. So they would kind of drive back and forth, and like when they crossed across Chicago, that's when they'd visit us, like twice a year. But yeah, I don't have much more information than that. So let's move on. This was asked on May 9th. This is from Zeiss, which I guess it's Zeiss. Did you get a chance to play the Splatoon demo this weekend? Do you think Nintendo can turn this new IP into something big and popular? Don't worry, no Splatoon amiibo questions here. See, I don't really care about the Splatoon amiibo questions. And to answer the question you didn't ask, I have the Splatoon amiibos reserved, so at GameStop. So there should be no no issues with me getting those. Did I get a chance to play the Splatoon demo this weekend? Actually, back when he did this, that was the first weekend they did the demo, and I didn't. I was out that whole day. And now, if I was in, I don't know if I would have played it or not. But the other thing is that this last weekend they had another, I guess they were calling it stress tests. Now, even if I wanted to, which I wasn't even really thinking about it, even if I wanted to do it, I couldn't. My internet was crap. Thank you, Comcast. Uh, so, yeah, I can't even really download a movie now. It's so slow. I really have to. Although, if I switch some of the cables around, I can get it to go faster from my computer, although nobody else can have internet. So, let's move on. Well, there's Twitter about something Amiibo related. Let's ignore that. And there's a plane flying overhead. You know, this is a good test for this microphone that I bought and never really used outside. This was asked on May 11th. Another person who likes to ask some questions here and there. Hey man, don't eat those. Let's see here. This is a long one. So today, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was just announced, and I got to thinking, what's going on with AAA companies dumping their once classic and ultra-popular IPs and watching them rot away, unused, for years, only for the people who worked on them or even created those games/characters to pick them back up as spiritual successors and getting them funded on Kickstarter. Games like Mega Man and Mighty No. 9, Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee, and now Castlevania and Bloodstained. Okay, stop with the Twitter feed. I guess my questions are these companies out of touch with the customers? Companies like Konami have said no one wants Metroidvania games anymore, or Capcom not using Mega Man in years, and yet these Kickstarters reach the goal in under 2 days and break the $1 million mark easily. Is Kickstarter going to be a major go-to place for devs in the future to get their games made? Once these games come out, will it be too late for the AAA companies to bring back the IPs if these spiritual successors are hits? Now, this whole big question is I don't even know where to really start. I can't really pick out one question and answer it. So I'll just kind of ramble on my thoughts on the way Kickstarter's going and the way publishers are going these days. You know, they have these IPs that were popular in the past, but for whatever reason, the more recent games in those series, they for some reason expect too much from them. They expect, oh, this game was popular, we're going to have this game even more popular, we're going to make more money. Let's stay not popular. All these AAA companies, as it were, are interested in are profits. Okay, now they could make a profit on a game, but that might not make them happy. They're interested in reaching whatever projected profits they were expecting. If they don't reach projected profits, they're going to consider the game a failure, and now they're not going to want to bring it back, and they're going to say, well, people aren't interested in it because we didn't make the profits we expected. Where can I go from here? But yeah, and you know what? Even in this day and age, I almost don't even want AAA game companies to bring back games. You know, I don't want to see Konami bring back Castlevania. I don't want to see Capcom bring back Mega Man. You know why? They're going to have so much input into the developers would just want to make the game, and they're going to come in and say, oh, why don't you change that? Why don't you change that? And or why don't we add in some DLC? Hey, take this portion of the game out. Let's make it some added content. Or what they did with Mortal Kombat recently, and they're like, oh, let's have these easy fatality tokens, so we can have a steady stream of income after the game is released. That's what they're interested in now. They're interested in not only making the money when the game is released, but making having a revenue stream for that game afterwards as well. That's why. Has there been a AAA game recently that has been released that has not had any DLC or any other microtransactions? No. In fact, I have not. I really was interested in Mortal Kombat. The new one, Mortal Kombat X, I haven't bought it. I don't know if I'll ever buy it. When you start announcing that there's going to be DLC characters before the game is even released, or even when your first announcement of the game is, we're coming out with Mortal Kombat 10, and hey, there's going to be Jason Voorhees, and he's going to be a downloadable character in the future. And obviously something's not going right. And with me, it kind of infuriates me when there's a fighting game and characters are blocked off. You bought the $60 game, and now you have to pay more money to get all the characters. And it's kind of another point is they're reluctant to raise the price of the game over $60. But I've said this in on a Facebook post, but games shouldn't really be costing $60 anymore. They've costed $60 since I don't know, for like the past 20 years, 15, 20 years. The price of games, video games, at least at retail, has not been keeping up with the rate of inflation. And they're hesitant to actually raise the price of the game. So what they're doing is they're kind of taking off parts of the game and making you buy it additionally, which is why we got that notice. It's official. Games now cost $100. I can't remember if it was related to Mortal Kombat X or was it Batman Arkham Knight? One of the, look at me now, I'm swinging in the swing. I gotta stop that. I'm sure it's wreaking havoc on my voice. But what was I saying? Oh, they were like, oh yeah, you're buying the game for $60, but then all the additional DLC is like $40 extra. What I would just prefer is a $100 game pressed on disc, and that way I don't have to rely on the internet to update the game. Why, you might ask? Well, look at the situation I'm in now. Even if there were an update to a game, I wouldn't be able to do it for a week. Because my internet's crap right now. Thanks, Comcast. Yeah, and what's funny is like I rebooted my modem earlier today, and my speed jumped right up. I was like, oh, it's fixed. And then I went right back down. I was like, but anyway, yeah, these Kickstarters, we're not going to get the games we want, okay? Even if they do release a Castlevania game. Oh, additional characters. Think about it. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. When you beat the game, you got the option to play as Richter via password, okay? Richter, Belmont, and then there was like some axe guy. They were just included in the game. When you beat the game, that's your reward. Now it would be, if that game was released today, it'd be like, oh, if you want to play as Richter Belmont, that's $10. You don't even have to don't worry about beating the game. Just pay us money and we'll give you the character. That's how it's working these days. So, Bloodstained, yes, I saw that and I was like, that's awesome. And I funded the Kickstarter. I funded it $100 because I want to get, that package with the soundtrack and everything. While I was talking, I need to get my phone back up here. But yeah, Kickstarter is the way to go. And it's the show. In fact, part of the reason for that Kickstarter was because if you read, I don't know if it was a part of the video or part of the description, but they just wanted to prove, they had funding, additional funding from the company, but the company was unsure that was going to fund the Bloodstained, was unsure if there was really demand for it. So that's why they had set a goal of I think it was $500,000, and it blew by in a day. People are really interested in it, even though game publishers, they'll always say they're not interested in making the game. So because they're not interested in making the game, they're gonna say, oh well, people aren't interested in that. What they're interested in is games that are really, really, really popular. Like if you look at it like Call of Duty, first-person shooters, Minecraft, that kind of thing. If you want to make a new game and your description of the game isn't something like, oh, it's like Minecraft or it's like Call of Duty, they're not interested because they're interested in, they're looking at what's really, really popular right now, and they're trying to just copy that and hope that the same thing will happen with them. That's why we're getting Call of Duty games every year, because people are buying. That's the plain simple truth of it. And not only are they buying them, but they're getting that additional revenue stream from add-ons, like, I don't know, different skins for your guns or whatever. People are buying those. That's why they're out there. But if you think about it, it's like if they were to release something like, akin to what I think Bloodstained is going to be, they're going to release it. And if there was no DLC, or you're just, after a while, that revenue stream will close up. And a side note, they're reluctant to give up their IPs because that, just collecting IPs is, they can say, oh, that's in our portfolio. You know what? They're just not going to give that away for free. So anyway, I think I've kind of covered all the bases, and albeit in a kind of randomized and weird way. But there's one more question here. Let's just get on with that. This was asked on May 14th. This is from Philip K. Did you ever watch Gem and the Holograms cartoon? What do you think of the new movie trailer that clearly isn't based on the cartoon? They are just using the name. Well, oh, now it's starting to rain. I knew it was going to rain, but hopefully I can finish this up before it gets too heavy. I have not... I know about the Gem and the Holograms cartoon. I've seen some of it. I have 2 younger sisters, and they watched it when they were kids. So, I'd seen it there and here. It was it looked like a pretty interesting cartoon. But yeah, I didn't even know that they were coming out with a Gem and the Holograms movie until somebody posted the trailer, like with what? And I watched the trailer, I was like, they've completely missed the point on this. Honestly, how do you do a Gem and the Holograms movie without having it take place in the 80s with 80s music? They've kind of... Wow, it's starting to really rain down here, but I'm under a tree, so I'm going to finish this up, actually, on the way to the house. But yeah, it really needed to take place in the 80s, I think. The Misfits aren't there. That was a big show, a big part of the show, unless they were planning on saving them for a sequel. Yeah, right. That's not going to happen. Oh, did it stop? No, I'm just going to get over to an underhang over here. Yeah, they've completely missed the point. In fact, if you know what Gem and the Holograms is, I highly recommend looking up the trailer, because there we go. There's another chair here. There we go. Oh, and now there we go. Oh wow, professionalism at its best. But yeah, they've completely missed the point. And it's a shame, because you'd think that they were learning. You know what? They're bringing back Mad Max, and that was pretty good. But yeah, it's like, yeah, you bring back Gem and the Holograms, and they're just because they're wearing the 80s makeup and kind of wearing 80s clothes, I'm not really convinced them the clothes either, doesn't make it that show. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, to me, it's like, I don't know. It's like something that should have stayed in the 80s. So if they were going to make a movie on it, it should have taken place in the 80s and had 80s music. Yeah, I don't think you could have done it any other way. And the way they're doing it now is horrible. In fact, if you look at the trailer, look up the trailer for Gem and the Holograms, it's just hilarious how many negative, not reviews, negative feedback that video has. It's ridiculously negative. If I were like putting out that movie, I'd be like, just release it straight to video. Hopefully nobody remembers that we did this. But yeah, again, it's not like, to me, it's like they destroyed it, like they kind of destroyed the Transformers. I mean, that Transformers series, even though it's really popular, the Michael Bay, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I mean, 1 was okay, it just started getting worse and worse and worse. It really has little to do with what the 80s Transformers were about. And I have a feeling that this Gem and the Holograms thing is the same thing, just worse, because people are right off the bat, but the Transformers have always been around. They've kind of evolved. So when they came out with live-action movie, people got excited about it. Gem kind of disappeared in the 80s, and now they're just bringing it back right now. And yeah, I don't know. They should have named it something different, and people wouldn't have hated it as much. I know I could ramble on forever, but you get my point. It's stupid. I can't even believe. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it to see how bad it does, because it's gonna fail spectacularly. So thanks everyone for watching. See you all next time. Bye.